Hi everybody. Today we're going to have a story about Eskimos and snow bears. This is a beautiful book illustrated by Jan Brett. And I have some friends with me today. I have Papa Bear and I have Mama Bear with her apron on. And who do you suppose this is? Baby Bear? This is a real polar bear, and these are the kind of bears that live up in the North Pole where there's lots of ice and snow all winter long and it's cold. The snow bears. And Jan Brett writes and illustrates beautiful books. Come back, Alooki shouted as her huskies floated out to sea. Oh no, she knew that although an ice floe is a good place to fish, it is a bad place to lose a dog team. Not far away, a snow bear family had just started to eat their breakfast, but it was way too hot for Baby Bear. And I'll just stop for a minute and explain. This is a sled. This is a sled that people go out sledding on hills with, but up where it's cold, people have to get around on sleds. Eskimos have to get around on sleds, and their dogs pull the sleds. So Alooki lost her dogs. But anyway, owie! Yelled Baby Bear. My breakfast burned my mouth. We'll go for a stroll and let the soup cool, Mama Bear said. Eskimos live in igloos, which are houses of snow. Alooki was running along looking for her dogs when she came upon the biggest igloo she had ever seen. Who lives here, she wondered. Alooki ducked inside. Right away, she smelled something delicious. Across the room, she saw a big bowl, a middle-sized bowl, and a small bowl. Surely the good smell was coming from the 3 bowls. Alooki took a sip from the biggest bowl. Ow, she cried out, too hot. She took a sip from the middle-sized bowl. Ew, too cold. She tipped up the littlest bowl and drank every drop. She said, not too hot and not too cold. In the next room, Alooki spotted 3 pairs of beautiful boots standing in a row. She put on the biggest boots. Too big, she said. She put on the middle-sized boots. Too fancy, she said. She put on the littlest pair. Just right, she said, wriggling her toes in the soft lining. Alooki walked into the last room and found a long sleeping bench piled high with fur covers. Heat from an oiled lamp warmed her cheeks and made her sleepy. Time for a nap, she thought. She crawled under the highest mound of covers. Too lumpy, she grumbled. She tried the middle bed with the fiery fringe cover, but sank down so far that she could hardly breathe. Too soft, she said. She rolled over into the smallest sleeping place. The furry blanket was cozy and warm, and the pillow was just her size. Just right, Alooki murmured, and was asleep before she could take her boots off. If Alooki hadn't fallen fast asleep, she might have heard her dogs barking happily. Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and Baby Bear had spotted them adrift in the strong current and gone out to save them. The Snow Bear family was pushing Alooki's dog team back towards their igloo and safety. Oh, thank goodness. Papa Bear crawled into the igloo and saw his big bowl sitting in a pool of spilled soup. "Someone has been tasting my soup," he roared. Mama Bear rushed in and saw that her soup had been sloshed around too. "Someone has been sipping my soup," she growled. "Someone found my soup," sputtered Baby Bear in her high, squeaky voice, "and they ate it all up." Papa Bear ran into the next room and saw his boots in the middle of the floor. "Someone has been trying on my boots," he boomed in his big bear voice. Mama Bear put on her fancy boots. "Someone has had these boots on," she huffed, "and the fur is all bunched up." Baby Bear saw that her boots had disappeared. "Someone has taken my boots and left behind these not as good ones," she wailed. The bears ran into their bedroom. "Someone has been sleeping in my bed," Papa Bear bellowed. "Someone has been sleeping in my bed too," Mama Bear cried. Baby Bear peeked at her little bed and squealed, "Someone has been sleeping in my bed, and here she is." Alooki opened up her eyes and saw 3 bear noses only inches away. Could you imagine waking up in your bed with 3 big bears looking at you? She hopped out of bed and dove between Papa Bear's furry legs. Quicker than a seal, Alooki ran from room to room until she burst outside. Her huskies bounced around, barking and smiling their doggy grins. Alooki and her dogs flew over the frozen ice, dodging ridges and cracks. She looked back to wave a thank you to the snow bears. She couldn't see them, but she heard a big gruff voice, a middle-sized voice, and a high squeaky voice calling to her. Bye. 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 And that's the story of the snow bears. Can you think of another story about bears that you know that's kind of like that story? Joe the Eskimo had a house built out of snow. Outside the weather it was cold, but warm inside with a fire of gold. Wherever he looks, the ground is white, bright in day and dark at night. He'll catch a bear to keep him warm, snuggle in fur to weather the storm. Eskimos live quite a different life, and they live completely in the snow. They build their houses out of ice, and they cut blocks of ice, which are kind of like these blocks. And we use blocks to build a house that might be straight, like this, a wall that goes straight up. But an igloo, can you say igloo? Is round. So you have to build your house in a different way. And I'm just going to illustrate how you have to go around and not straight up, but you have to go in a little each time to make the igloo round. And I'm doing this, of course, with big blocks, but this is what the Eskimos do with little blocks. They keep just bridging them, sort of slanting them in a little bit more each time. You could also make an igloo. You could try to make an igloo. You could use square bars of soap. You could use anything square. You could use milk cartons. Maybe you could even freeze some ice in a milk carton. And I keep going in. And this is not beautiful, but it's just an illustration of how differently the Eskimos build their house. So why don't you look around your house and see what you have that might be square that you could build an igloo out of? And maybe you could try building an igloo at your house. And I hope that you have fun building your igloos and eating some porridge that's just right, not too hot and not too cold. And when you go outdoors, put on your boots. Bye.